Hi, my name's Joe Davis, and I would like to begin this recruitment startup training program by congratulating you on your decision to start your very own recruitment agency. In your recruitment startup business program, you'll find all the information you need to get your business off to a flying start. You'll shortly receive your recruitment startup business pack with your training manuals and DVDs with invaluable information that will form part of your training program. Your timing is perfect. You're on the verge of literally creating a business lifestyle that many people today can only dream about. And if you dedicate enough time and effort to building your business, you could quite literally make an absolute fortune. Give yourself the best chance of success and start by keeping up with your weekly training program. This will walk you through the fundamentals of building a successful business. If you have any immediate questions, just email my office at any time. That's at support@rsuservices.com. Success will come quicker if you follow the guidelines in this business startup program and schedule a set number of hours per week to work your business. You'll also need to set aside regular time slots to go through your training program whilst working on your business. What is important now is to familiarise yourself with the information contained in your training program and course materials found in your introductory email. The only ingredients that you need to add to be successful are your time and commitment. If you give your recruitment business sufficient time and commitment, you'll achieve three things that rarely go together. You'll have fun, you'll benefit others, and you'll make a substantial monthly income. The topics that will be covered in Volume 1 are history of the recruitment industry, choosing a search engine friendly domain name, setting up your website, and the future of recruitment. A full breakdown of the 12 weeks recruitment startup program will be covered at the end of this training session. A recruitment agency is the business in which you match employer to employee according to their respective needs and goes back decades. To better understand the nature of the recruitment industry, we are first going to briefly consider its history. The staffing and recruitment business has been around since Julius Caesar. He used to promise a reward of 300 sesterces to any soldier who brought another to join the Roman army. Interestingly, the amount represented a third of a soldier's annual salary, coincidentally on par with the fees charged by recruitment agencies today. So this business is 100% recession proof, and it is most definitely here to stay. Turning to more modern times. In the 1920s, recruitment was conducted via social or network groups. Normally, a CEO would ask within their social circle for positions that needed to be filled. In some parts of the world, there were individuals that established consulting groups. This is the first form of a recruitment agency. It soon spread out to different parts of the world and began to grow into what we know it to be today. The 1930s are the years during the Great Depression, with widespread unemployment and poverty. Like so many industries at that time, the recruitment companies also found that running an agency was extremely challenging. The next decade, 1940s, was the beginning of the Second World War. For countries that were not particularly affected by the war, the recruitment industry began to flourish, especially so for people that were not within the military. Requests were made for positions within the Defence Department, which was a very lucrative industry to be in. In order to fill these positions, there had to be some emotional attachment to it. For example, giving people the idea that by working for the Defence Force, they were playing a big part in helping the country. Your country needs you, one of the mottos that was flying around at the time. This sort of recruiting was the beginning of the phenomenon that we today call headhunting. The 1950s saw an upturn in the world economic markets. By then the workforce was more technical and in many respects better educated. At this stage they were known as retainer firms, placement agencies and personnel consulting services. The types of jobs these recruitment agencies worked were wide and varied. The 1970s were characterised as a strong economic boom. This is a period when corporates started to emerge. Thus, with these organisations, you got corporate headhunters. At this time, most companies were looking for the next cutting-edge thing and talent. In the 1980s, you had the rapid growth in service business and increasing mobility of specialist workers, leading to the growth of the recruitment agency market. Recruitment changed rapidly with a growing army of professionals helping businesses to find talent. I joined the recruitment industry back in the early 1980s. I was working for a company called Atlas Employment Agency in Buckingham Palace Gate, West London, the company's flagship branch. During those days, it wasn't unusual for clients to phone in with their vacancies, and of course whoever picked up the phone first got the job to work on and invariably earned the commission. Now, I worked in an office with 2 experienced recruitment consultants who made it perfectly clear to me that I was not welcomed, and the speed in which they picked up the phone, it was like working with 2 gunslingers. I just couldn't get to looking. As in the old gunslinger movies, in those days you had the quick and the dead. So to keep my job, I had to come up with a way of getting to the phone fast. The phone system they had back then was the PABX, and from where I was sitting I noticed that just before the phone rang, the switchboard in the cupboard beside me would make a perceptible click sound, which enabled me to grab the phone a split second ahead of the other 2 consultants. Because of taking the initiative and thinking outside the box, no pun intended, within 3 months I was promoted to branch manager. As in the 1980s, it's still the case that speed kills the competition, and working smarter will always trump working harder. In the world of recruitment, if you can provide a service which is faster, smarter and more cost effective, then the competition doesn't stand a chance. Late 80s, early 90s was a tough time, leading to a number of agencies scaling back on branch openings. Then came the era of the dot-com boom. The computer and internet took things by storm, and agencies that adopted the new technologies, such as incorporating contact management databases, made a killing. Then we had the arrival of the turn-of-the-century boom. Over the last decade or so, the recruitment business has been one of the fastest growing sectors in the UK, doubling every 5 years, and it is still one of the only few industries that requires very little investment, can be run on a shoestring budget, and can equally yield tremendous financial results in a very short period of time. In fact, there were more opportunities for job seekers in 90% of the UK's employment sectors, the highest it's ever been in decades. A recent report by the Recruitment Employment Confederation, the REC, stated the jobs market continues to go from strength to strength, with a further increase in the number of people finding new jobs. Today, the recruitment industry has grown substantially, and with careers being very specific, so too has the specialist recruitment agencies. As long as a business operates with workers who are hired, then this is a potential business for your recruitment agency. At the same time, every person within the working age is a potential candidate. Recruiters simply match the needs of both parties and bring them together. With a dearth of skilled workers, matches cannot be easily made because a company may require specific skill or individual that is not always readily available. Take, for example, the construction industry. Due to the recession in the UK, the construction industry virtually ground to a halt, and therefore many sought work in other professions. Training colleges closed down, and a whole generation of young apprentices in the industry was lost. The UK government decided to breathe life into the industry by investing in major projects such as HS2, Crossrail and airport expansions, to name a few. The problem is, though, there is not only a shortage of skilled manpower available for these roles, but there is also a shortage of building materials such as bricks to get these projects completed. Construction often involves short-term projects and tight deadlines. Recruitment agencies are crucial in sourcing contractors in such situations, especially on large-scale projects and at technical or executive level. These employers are choosing to search for potential employees with the help of recruitment agencies who know both the sector intimately as well as the needs of particular roles and positions within the market. In many respects, running a home-based recruitment agency has one of the lowest barrier of entry to the highest level of income, and the demand for staff continues to grow at a record pace. The main reason for this is that presently, worldwide, there is an acute shortage of skilled or qualified people. Gone are the days when clients could just place an advert in a local newspaper and be inundated with suitable CVs to choose from. In fact, it's not unusual for a client to pay thousands of pounds to advertise a vacancy in the newspaper and not receive any suitable candidates. Hence the reason why more and more employers are choosing to use a recruitment agency to source suitable candidates. With the shortage of talented people, companies are bending over backwards to look after key employees. So more times than not, companies are trying to recruit people who are not necessarily actively looking for another job. And this is where you come in as a recruiter. Your role is to source suitable candidates for your clients on a permanent, temporary or contract basis. That being said, studies have shown that 82% of people currently working would change their job in a heartbeat if given the right job opportunity to do so. They're just waiting for you to call them and to put a good opportunity their way. Before we discuss how this can be effectively achieved, let's first start with an overview of the role of a recruitment consultant. A recruitment consultant is responsible for providing clients within a chosen business sector with staffing solutions that are both quick and cost effective. The task of recruiting new staff is an important but time-consuming process, so companies often prefer to hire a recruitment agency to source suitable candidates on their behalf. Before we discuss how this can be effectively achieved, let's first start with an overview of the role of a recruitment consultant. A recruitment consultant is responsible for providing clients within a chosen business sector with staffing solutions that are both quick and cost effective. The task of recruiting new staff is an important but time-consuming process, so companies often prefer to hire a recruitment agency to source suitable candidates on their behalf. In a nutshell, the role of a recruitment consultant is to build relationships with clients, source job vacancies, and find appropriate candidates for each role as quickly and effectively as possible. Many agencies use a recruitment contact database to manage both clients' and candidates' records. However, a number of small agencies still effectively run their business using manual card systems. As previously mentioned, recruitment consultants act as intermediaries between employers and job seekers. They earn fees from employers by matching applicants with permanent and temporary vacancies. On the permanent side, a fee is charged to the client company, which is a percentage of the candidate's annual salary. The percentage that is charged varies from industry to industry, but on average is between 20 and 30%, which is paid by the company. General staffing agencies. They deal mainly with office workers, although many tend to dabble in placing other categories of staff, such as catering or industrial workers, into employment. Specialist agencies. They specialise in niche market sectors such as accountants, banking, electronics, aerospace or IT personnel, to name a few. Not only do the consultants understand their specialist market and its geography, but most also have an in-depth knowledge of the various technical disciplines required. Medical and nursing agencies. Their function is to supply nurses and other medical staff to the National Health Service and other private hospitals. The healthcare business is an industry where there will always be a shortage. This is an ideal market for ambitious nursing entrepreneurs to tap into this multi-million-pound industry. Executive search agencies. These are professionals who are paid a retainer, usually a third of the fee up front, by employers to find candidates for specific senior positions. Their role is primarily focused on filling executive posts, and they usually make the first approach to potential candidates. Executive search agencies often specialise by industry and at annual salary levels of 100k plus. I strongly recommend that you start your agency as a specialist recruiter, targeting clients in a market that you have a level of knowledge and understanding. This enables you to build your business in a niche sector so that you can become a specialist in your field, which in turn allows you to command higher fees for your service. Recruitment is a fast-paced and exciting business with plenty of opportunities if you are prepared to work hard and smart. You need to have excellent listening skills and be inquisitive and determined. To succeed as a recruitment entrepreneur, you will also need to be goal-orientated and demand continually high standards from yourself. The next subject we're going to consider is that of raising finance. There are many ways you can raise finance when starting a business, and it's important that you choose the right business finance for your specific circumstances. You can borrow from family, get a bank loan, or even raise finance from outside investors. But most new startups use a combination of all of these. Chances are you've heard the phrase, "a penny saved is a penny earned." For a new business startup, nothing comes closer to the truth. Unless you're fabulously wealthy or recently landed a large investment, your startup is going to have to run on fumes for a while. So before we consider ways in which you can raise funds for your future growth of your business, the tips we are now going to consider will help your startup to effectively run on a shoestring budget. Don't spend a lot on office space. You may have vivid dreams of moving into a plush office with a leather recliner chair and an oak desk, but here's a reality check. Moving into an office location before you start generating money is a recipe for failure. Rent is often a new startup's biggest expense, and it is a great way to blow through any funds you have set aside to start your new venture. Nothing shortens a runway like excessive rent. When I first started my recruitment agency, I operated from a spare bedroom in my house. I purchased a low-cost desk and a comfortable chair, and I was up in business. Once I had generated funds to cover my day-to-day expenses, I then moved to a local business centre that was in walking distance from my home, again to stretch the pennies. Just a word of caution, re-renting office space, watch out for hidden charges. Although the cost of renting my first office was affordable, by the time I added the cost of internet access, telephone charges, photocopying, etc., it was getting expensive. On the point of telephone charges, you have to be on guard against service offices or business centres wanting to apply BT standard rates for any outgoing calls that are made. Let's face it, no one has paid BT standard rates for many years now, as they are very expensive. Best thing to do is to contact your existing mobile service provider and haggle out a deal that gives you unlimited calls to any network, both mobiles and landlines, for a low-cost monthly price. Don't take on additional staff until you can comfortably afford to do so. The process of securing a vacancy and sourcing a suitable candidate, which will be covered in greater detail later in the programme, is an invaluable learning experience. Don't skip it or delegate it. Once revenue is coming in and you know how to make placements, you can hire a trainee or preferably an intern to work as a resourcer to help you increase the volume of your placements. If you haven't mastered the techniques for making placements, then it will most definitely be an uphill struggle for you to effectively teach anyone you prematurely bring into your business. To sum it up, the major goal when running a company on a shoestring budget should be to generate revenue. Focus on generating vacancies and finding suitable candidates to forward to clients before moving into an office or taking on new recruits. 1. Do it yourself. Most entrepreneurs and small business owners these days have come to the realization that they will have to self-fund, also known as bootstrapping, their new startup for the early stages of their venture. There are many ways to accomplish this, from savings accounts and zero-interest credit cards to leveraging other personal assets. The wonderful thing about starting a recruitment agency is that with the aid of social media advertising, there are minimal overheads to contend with. 2. Friends and family. Funding from friends and family is a very popular and effective way to round up some initial capital for your business. Those closest to you are more likely than anyone to believe not only in your vision, but your ability to make that vision a reality. When borrowing money, it's best to structure this type of funding as an interest loan for 1 year. Borrow just enough to launch the business into operation. 3. Grants. Entrepreneurs across the UK that are pursuing small business financial assistance in the form of a grant or other aid programme need to know where to look. Government funding programmes can help with the finance of starting and growing a business. We have put together a whole training section on how to find grant funding to help take advantage of the small business loans and grants currently available from the UK government, whether you are looking for a small amount of money or a lot. Knowing how and where to apply is invaluable. The grant funding session in a future training program will provide information on how to access government funds to launch or grow your new startup. 4. Small business loans. I know what you're thinking. Banks are more stringent than ever about giving out loans, and if you don't have any credit, how can you possibly consider this route? Well, due to the pressure exerted by the UK government, banks are slowly but surely starting to loosen the purse strings. You could start with a small overdraft or a credit card to build up your credit history with your bank and to tidy you over until funds starts rolling in. 5. Crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is a new way of raising finance by having a large number of people contributing a small amount of money. Until recently, financing a business project or venture involved asking a few people for large sums of money. Crowdfunding switches this idea around, using the internet to talk to thousands, if not millions, of potential funders. Typically, those seeking funds will set up a profile of their business on a website. They can then use social media alongside traditional networks of friends, family, or work acquaintances to raise money. There are 3 different types of crowdfunding: donation, debt, and equity. Just Google the word crowdfunding to see which services best suits your specific requirements. Regardless of which path you take, chances are that you may do all of these at some point as your business starts to grow and may necessitate for you to move from your home to a more suitable office location. At the end of the day, you have a business to run and it will one day need your full undivided attention, which of course requires money. So find a viable funding solution that allows you to maintain operations, grow your business and focus on profitability. We're now going to discuss how to choose a search engine friendly domain name. Choosing a domain name is equally important as choosing a company name, as it has favourable effects on the business. A domain name is the prominent identity of a company on the web. Ideally, you'd want to make sure to select a name that not only fits your agency, but is also easy to locate and to promote. The name should be short, memorable, easier to spell, high up in the alphabet, and if possible reflects the nature of your business. Selecting a perfect domain name is always a tough task, since many of the good ones have already been registered. The following steps will help you to grab a suitable search engine friendly domain name. First of all, it's good to remember that .com is king. Keep in mind that .com rules on the internet traffic. Usually every person thinks in terms of .com, and even all the browsers presently take it as a default. Moreover, .com extensions assist in improving your page ranking on the website. But this extension is slightly more expensive than other available extensions. If you want to operate your business only in the UK, then a .co.uk will usually suffice. This helps your website gain more visibility on local searches, as .co.uk is primarily for UK-based companies. Your choice of domain name should reflect your business. Most importantly, you will need to make sure that potential clients and candidates are able to recognise that you are a recruitment agency, judging from the domain name itself. You don't want to leave them guessing. Make it easy to type and remember. Selecting a name that is easy to enter and memorable is critical for success of an online recruitment business. Avoid the words that have multiple spellings. It is essential to prevent visitors from redirecting to other similar sites. Tell your business associates and friends about the name you are planning to register and see if they spell it correctly and remember it until the next day. Also, try to figure out their perception about the name. If everything goes right, then press on with registering the domain name. If you keep all these points in mind at the time of the domain name search, you'll become the owner of a most effective and useful domain name. Included in your recruitment startup training program is a voucher worth £795 for a freely designed 5-page website. All you'll simply need to do is visit the website www.blueprintillustrated.com and enter the code that was supplied in your introductory email. Choose one of the designs they have available on their website, and this company will build your website free of charge. They do charge a nominal monthly fee for domain name registration, email hosting and search engine optimization that will enable your recruitment agency to eventually achieve a high ranking with search engines. While you can't simply rattle off a list of recruitment search terms you want to be found for, your website will be equipped to utilize search engine optimization to help drive traffic to your site. Your website will be designed with optimized content, building relevant links and creating a market that customers will want to engage with. Over time, you'll set yourself up as an authority in the eyes of search engines and greatly increase your chances of appearing for the right queries. Having an optimized website helps to gain important visibility for the right terms. Today, your website and your social presence are the factors that customers are looking for when they are looking for employment. They want to know that you're stable enough to have a dedicated web presence, that you'll be around tomorrow should something go wrong, and that they can get hold of you as and when they want to do so. By having a website, you have set up a recruitment agency that can be found on the internet and show potential candidates and clients that this is where they can come to find help in either finding jobs or looking for candidates. All of these things build authority. Without a website, you are at a huge disadvantage as a new recruitment agency trying to drum up business. Our final subject we're going to cover in this volume is the future of recruitment. Ever since the internet came along, people have been questioning what would be the impact on the world of the recruitment industry. The reality is that the immediate future for recruitment agencies looks very bright, if only because we're out of recession and many companies are still obsessed with hiring the best available candidates to drive their business forward and to make up for lost ground caused by the prolonged recession. However, this bright outlook is not in the case of high street recruitment agencies. Slowly but surely, home-based recruiters like you are siphoning business away from high street recruiters by undercutting on pricing and using social media platforms to source quality candidates at the speed of light. The internet now makes it ever so easy to connect with people and crucially get your vacancies published for free. You can get vacancies onto blogs, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Google+, and not have to pay a penny. Whereas previously an employer could only really use an agency to fill that 30k project manager role, and now there is the opportunity for new players with the right knowledge, tools and skills provided exclusively from this training program to enter into the recruitment industry without the huge upfront or operating costs previously associated with setting up a recruitment agency. Today you can source thousands of vacancies located on clients' websites without the need to make dozens of cold calls to companies. In addition to this, sourcing suitable candidates couldn't be easier as you have multiple social media platforms such as LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook to find candidates. More on how this is done later in the programme. All of this keeps chipping away at and weakening a recruitment agency's justification for charging 30% of a candidate's annual salary as a fee. Our unique recruitment startup business model, based on my 30 years plus of recruitment experience, coupled with the knowledge gained from helping to set up hundreds of new startups, has been specifically designed for you to simply forward suitable CVs to companies looking to fill a vacancy. But instead of charging a whopping 30%, you'll be offering a more realistic fee structure of 10 to 15%, undercutting high street agencies, winning and gaining repeat business. Now, it goes without saying that recruitment agencies do not have the monopoly on people looking for jobs. So when you offer to supply a suitable applicant to a client advertising a vacancy on their website at a fraction of the price of costly bricks and mortar high street recruitment agencies, then it is a no-brainer whose agency the client will choose to use, and therefore it comes pretty much a one-horse race. This approach effectively enables you to become the iTunes of the recruitment industry. The advent of the internet has led to recruitment agencies by and large becoming a glorified CV database or job board. Before the internet, there was no real way for the average company to be able to access a pool of job applicants, both active and passive. Now there is. Just about every job board offers direct access to literally millions of CVs via these databases. The search mechanisms are becoming ever more sophisticated, and whilst it's true to say that there is often a lot of wannabes on them, there are definitely some real gems. As the saying goes, rough diamonds are sometimes mistaken for worthless pebbles. So be prepared to work with candidates to get them to tailor their CV to the vacancy and find that diamond in the rough. The chances are that the vast majority of people you are trying to find and recruit are not professional CV writers. Whether they are software engineers, lawyers, physiotherapists, project managers or company directors, they are not an expert in CV writing. So they may not have included information relevant to the vacancy you're working on in their CV. The problem with most CVs is that sometimes the candidate is a very good fit for the job, but the skills and experience required for the vacancy is not explicitly expressed in their CV. Now, employers do not have the time to interview a candidate just to see if they could potentially be a good fit for their company, and hence why there will always be a need for the services of a recruitment agency. Although it was initially thought that the proliferation of social media sites and job boards would be the death knell for recruitment agencies, this is simply not the case, as it still takes considerable time wading through all the CVs, sourcing, vetting, interviewing, referencing potential candidates for a job. However, and this point is very important, the writing is most definitely on the wall for traditional high street recruitment agencies who, because of their lengthy leases, which is like a millstone around their necks, they are forced to continue charging exorbitant fees for their services, which is a business model that is unsustainable. Before the most recent recession, not everyone had easy access to the internet. Even now, not everyone has a computer at home, but year on year the availability of cheap and easy access to the internet is increasing. Be it mobile phone, tablet or computer, the web is everywhere. In the near future, all TVs will offer one-click access to the web, so when a TV advert appears promoting, say, one of your vacancies on a low-cost media platform, a couple of clicks and a potential candidate will be through to your vacancy without them having to leave the comfort of their armchair. Candidates will be able to apply to jobs during the TV ad break, crucially allowing you to get your jobs in front of thousands of potential candidates. The internet's ubiquity means an increase in people viewing vacancies on their computer and picking up links to jobs via social media sites. All of this is getting easier and easier to do each year and will surely speed up the demise of high street recruitment agencies and again more business heading your way. With regards to job board search engines, the likes of Indeed and Simply Hired have developed an interesting niche. Essentially, you can post your jobs on these sites free of charge, and candidates can search and apply to these positions. If you want to make your jobs more visible, just sponsor certain keywords in your field and more job seekers will see it. They work on the same principle as Google. So if you're not able to recruit someone for free, you could repost your jobs for pennies and then stop the advert as soon as you've found someone suitable. Later on in the training program, we'll show you how to synchronize your recruitment processes to these sites to tap into free candidates to help build an enviable database of candidates in your market. As we draw our first training session to a close, it's important that you keep in mind that it takes time to grow your business. Rome wasn't built in a day. Sadly, far too many people start their business, do all the legwork to get up and running, then call it a day. Yes, I can guarantee you that there will be obstacles along the way. However, this is the path of the course, building character, determination, resilience, and more importantly, a profitable recruitment business leading to once again real financial freedom. No successful entrepreneur ever found starting a business an easy ride. In fact, the vast majority have failed, some spectacularly, but they have learned from their experience and went on to build multi-million-pound businesses. So don't give up. Now, we have erased 90% of the risk, providing you this step-by-step, easy-to-follow, turnkey business model in manageable, easy-to-follow chunks. And if you stick to the program and work hard, then you'll see success is just around the corner. The first thing you will need to do before we move into Volume 2 of the program is to choose a suitable name for your recruitment agency, perhaps if you haven't done so already. It's good to check if the domain name is available. This can be done by using sites such as eNom or GoDaddy. Then go into Companies House web check to make sure that there isn't a business with a similar name. Once you have chosen a name, then visit www.blueprintillustrated.com to have your free website built. You'll need to use a voucher code that was sent in your introductory email. There are a number of free designs in the bronze package to choose from, although there's nothing to stop you from upgrading and paying for a website with full bells and whistles. What I'd like to do just before we conclude is to give a brief overview of some of the subjects that will be covered in your training program. The training scheduled outlined here has enabled some of our new startups to achieve a six-figure income in their first year of trading, so it's extremely powerful. In Volume 2, we'll be considering choosing a sector for your recruitment agency. In particular, the focus will be on recession-proof industries for you to have as the mainstay of your agency. Plus, we'll look at ways in which you can obtain immediate vacancies to work on. In Volume 3, we'll consider the 30 steps of the recruitment process, from obtaining the vacancy right through to finding a candidate and of course leading to you getting paid. Volume 4, we move on to sourcing a candidate to put forward to vacancies. At this stage, you will have been taught exactly how to get vacancies, and the key part of the jigsaw puzzle is finding a perfect candidate for the job. If you have followed the training program, then you will be well on your way to lining up interviews with a view to securing your first placement and generating money for your business. In Volume 5, we will be fully demonstrating how to obtain grant funding to help grow your recruitment agency. There are over 600 grants on the market to the tune of £350 billion. We will show you not only how to locate funds for your business, but more importantly, what steps you need to take to receive a business startup grant. Volume 6. At this stage, we'll be looking to turn everything up a notch or two. Established recruitment agencies are targeted to make 3 to 4 placements per week. At this stage, your goal will be to achieve a minimum of 1 placement per month, a fee of £4,000 to £6,000 per placement. This section of the training will lay down the ground rules to learning how to manage your time more effectively so that you can move from 1 placement per month to 1 placement per week. Volume 7. In this training session, we'll be looking at how you can obtain fees of up to 30% of a candidate's salary by marketing a tip-top candidate into speculative vacancies. This is one training session you will definitely not want to miss, as once you have mastered this aspect of your training, you will know the full techniques of the big billers. Volume 8. Traditionally, companies sought temporary workers for lower skilled positions. Today, temporary or contract workers increasingly include highly skilled individuals with a wide range of educational backgrounds and work experience. These individuals can tackle critical one-time projects that are limited in time and scope. From your point of view, when you have a number of temps out working for your recruitment agency, this provides you with a regular monthly income. And what is quite extraordinary, for every hour the temp works, you get paid. If the temp works overtime at time and a half or double time, you get paid time and a half and double time, which is quite incredible. Volume 9. Handling objections. Some recruiters think of objections as a bad thing, but they're missing the big picture. If your prospect raises an objection, that's actually a good sign. The fact that they're talking out their concern means that they're giving you a chance to answer it. We'll consider ways in which you can turn an objection to your advantage. Volume 10. Market growth is forecast at 14.52% over the next 3 years for traditional and online recruitment businesses. A complete thought-out business plan is one of the most valuable tools in helping you reach your long-term goals. It gives your business direction, defines your objectives, maps out strategies to achieve your goals, and helps you to manage possible bumps in the road. The business plan has been noted by successful entrepreneurs as the single most important aspect of the success of their business. This element will serve as the guide for a business. Without having directions, goals, and a detailed plan on how to go in the right direction and achieve those goals, it is quite likely that the business will just splutter along. By having an effective business plan, you'll be able to know exactly what it is that you need to do in order to get to where you want to fast. In our penultimate training session, we'll show you how to recruit a team of independent recruitment consultants for your agency. Some of the highest earning professionals in the recruitment industry are independent recruitment consultants, IRCs as they're better known, working on a self-employed basis. You'll receive additional support from me and my team showing you how to recruit people to work as trainee IRCs, working on a freelance commission-only basis. In our final volume of the program, we'll delve more deeply into the quickest way to take your recruitment agency to a 6 or 7 figure income, and that is by securing a temp contract which are highly sought after. We'll run through the exact steps to winning volume business for your recruitment agency. So this brings our first training session to a close. Again, if you have any queries, then please feel free to email me at support@rsuservices.com. Also, if you can email me your feedback on this training session, that would be most welcome. Bye for now.